LARP Master. Not even close. Play the new COD Kappa. Okay. How was the LARP? We're going to talk all about the LARP, okay? And there's going to be a point at which I'm probably just going to be rambling and talking and ignoring, just so I can finish out the whole story and everything. And then we can, if you have questions at the end, we can talk then. Let's be the grandma. Let's be grandma, but with fat ass thighs. Let's see. Detailed appearance. Alter body. Legs. Excellent. This is Horalu's grandma. Rhizopod, 34 months, welcome back. Hey, Taylor Ann Tracy. Taylor Ann Tracy was the lore master for HYNAFOL, and she just joined us here. Hello. Welcome. Delete blocked terms. Gottfried Gilbert. What? And she joined us here on Twitch. Hello. Alamaxi is in the chat as well. Yeah, there's so much to talk about. But let me get into the game here quickly, and yeah, let's get going. I'm also eating some breakfast, so apologies for that. The T's tier 372 months. After 6 years watching, I feel I'm qualified to say Lewis Jr.'s content is incredibly decent. Also, congrats on the wifening. Thank you. We wifined. I wifined. Narrate in your LARPing voice about your LARPing. Ready? Hello. This is my LARPing voice. Let's look at the block terms I hide for them. Oh, Gilbert was... Gilbert. Oh, right. I thought it was just a different spelling of like Godfrey. I was like, what? I like how they start you in fat roll just because they give you a second weapon. And if you take it off, you're good. Oh, well. Anyways. Do you want to start the lore percent then? Yeah. Okay. Whew. Where to begin? Well, my good friend, the Fat Wizard, many moons ago, showed us this event, HYNAFOL, and was like, would you like to go? And we were both like, what the heck? We've never LARPed or anything, or we don't have anything. But I convinced Bloody, and we were like, all right, we're in. Let's do it. And so in the months leading up, mostly the month or two before, we really started getting like, we were like, okay, we need clothes, we need weapons, we need this and that and this and that and all this stuff. So that's when we really started ramping up for it. And my good friend Alamaxia and the Fat Wizard, who are both my co-hosts on the Retro Gaming Podcast, exclamation point podcast. Yeah, my credit card hurts from that as well. Joined us, and Alamaxia brought his wife, whose character name was Ricine. Alamaxia was Alamaxia, and the Fat Wizard was William. And there was a whole... there's a lot of information ahead of time with guilds and religions and, games to be played there and events to be planned and all this stuff. And so we were like picking guilds and stuff. Aphin, welcome back. Thanks for the resub. Was Alamaxia or Fat Wizard part of the Assassins? I was just about to get to that. Almost all of us were basically like, yeah, we're going to join this guild called Nova Vitae, which is all about, freedom for all, no slavery, no this, no that, just fighting for the equality and the common good of all people. And of course, Fat Wizard was like, I'm going to be an assassin. So he joined the Assassins Guild, and we're all like, okay. But he ended up actually camping right near us, so it worked out well too. So, yeah. And it also worked out quite interestingly in game as well. Was it more fantasy or more historic? Fantasy. Was there mini spawn killing? We're not even close to battles yet. Hold your horses. Hold your headless horse. 2-month resub. Welcome back. A guy named Fat Wizard played an assassin. He's not fat or wizard is the thing. I know. I think he made that name just as a troll. I don't really. He used to stream as the Fat Wizard. He hasn't done so in a long time. He used to do a lot of Binding of Isaac. And he's actually the one that first got me to play the Dark Souls. So, he is to credit for this entire, well, not this entire channel, but probably my success. So, yeah. Thanks, Fat Wizard. And no, you don't get any sort of compensation for that. So, screw you. Just kidding. Thanks, Fat Wizard. In any case, it was a 5-day event. We got there. The first day was mostly just loading in, getting acquainted, getting set up, and all that. And so we drove on to. It's held at the same grounds as the Sherwood Forest Renaissance Fair, which I had been to like 5 times before, and we loved. So we were mostly familiar with the grounds. Hello, Melina. Load times were a day long. Was there a queue? Well, I mean, people were flying in from other states, and load in was from like 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. Oops, I did not mean to pass time. But, you know, people flew in and brought like trunks of stuff and all sorts of things. So they had to get in from their flights. They had to travel from the airport and all that stuff. So, yeah, it gave people ample time to get in, unload all their equipment, go park. And there were several ways to do it. You could be on the grounds like we were, those tents I showed. Or there's kind of off-site camping. And there are also different... Oh, whoops. I've torn now. I was curious why I wasn't horsing. So we did something called the couples experience, which is where we got a tent and it's just for ourselves. But if you're solo, you could join up and share a tent with other people. And you would have your own cots and stuff. Or you could do the off-campsite stuff. Did you seduce the dragon? Hold your horses. Sleepy Prophet, welcome back. Bacon Hamburg, welcome back as well. Thank you so much. What about the fantasy sex? That will be the tale of the night of the thunderstorm. Oh, yes. All of these things you're joking about.
Sending congratulatory bits.
Thank you, Smo Motion, for the 1,500 bits. We're going to buy so much honey wine. So much honey wine. Didn't end up on different teams after playing. No. You get to choose everything. You submit forms that are like who you want to, you know, camp with and all this stuff. So, lots of setup ahead of time for that sort of thing. Hi, Ranger Liz. Huzzah to the tip up. I'll quickly go over that. There, whenever we would get lunch, if you tipped the cashier, then they would do that, and everybody would go huzzah. So. They were saying we should do that on stream for every tip, but I don't want to. I don't want to do that every time. Will there be D&D Wednesday? I believe so. Yes, I believe so. Adventure awaits! Huzzah! Oh, that's a good video. Anyways, okay. So we load in and everything. It's going to be so hard to remember all the details because so much happened over the course of 5 days. But essentially there was like a commencement sort of ceremony. Just still... I think we're in character at this point. And we had a big meeting. And everybody was there. And they kind of preface what the event's all about. Sitting around the round table with serious RPing going on. Yeah. Yeah, that too. But essentially, the short of it is that this is 400 years after the times of King Arthur. But 400 years ago, the lands that were kind of central to this this main continent were shrouded in mist, and for 400 years it kept everybody out. And as the mist began to dissipate, all the guilds and all the players and everything began to find their way to the center, a land known as HYNAFOL. It was a duel with Warhammer and shields. Oh, there were lots of duels. Everburning Sun, welcome back. Spastagonist, huzzah, huzzah. Missa Pandaria. Basically, suddenly there were pandas, and I learned kung fu, and I ate dumplings with chopsticks. Wait, this is this is not the right thing. Hello, Dumb Joy. You have stream paused. Well, how am I supposed to respond to that? If you, Jack Black was there. Yeah, I kicked him in the nuts, and he gave me a funny cigarette. Anyways, at the end of this entrance ceremony, we're all divided up into our kind of kingdoms, and one leader leads us to our own area. And by the way, I think at this point it was nighttime, and holy crap, it's like out in the middle of nowhere, and the only lights you have are like lanterns and candles that are around. So it was really dark, which was very, very cool. It's like, even if you're super familiar with a place, when it's that dark, you're like, I'm lost. Was it far between the different camps? If I had to say, on the grounds themselves, to walk from, like, you know, furthest side to furthest side, if you're walking, was probably 10 minutes, maybe a little less. So it wasn't like super far, but it wasn't short by any means. The sort of thing, yes, LARP is live action role play, yes. We all did around 20K steps each of the main days, yeah. How glad are you that you've been working out? Very glad, because there's a competition I competed in too, and we'll get into that pretty shortly. But anyways, we all went with our guilds and
I expected as much.
Oh geez. Wizard Police, thanks for the gifted sub. Much appreciated. Welcome, Doodles. Bodybuilding competition, that was the one. We all went and we stood in a circle, and our like representative kind of read this big lore bit that was talking about how we step through the mists and enter the land of HYNAFOL, and come together, and it was like, you know, what do you stand for, that sort of thing, really establishing everybody's motives, everybody's characters, that sort of thing. Can you join for the boss fight? Which boss fight? There's a lot of bosses in this game. We're just doing a casual. I'm making a night build, more cake. It's gonna be a nighty type dude. Nothing really challenging. Just kind of a Lobos is back, casual, talky stream. In any case, once this was all done, we dismissed, and the game began. And we walked around, and there were so many just interactions here and there. Everybody, you pass is an opportunity to meet somebody new. I think total there was something like 300-ish people, to give you a sense of the size of the event. And this is its first year, so yeah, probably the smallest it will ever be, and it'll probably only grow from there. And I have to remember exactly what happened the first night. So we started kind of exploring. And Alamaxa, you can help me. Tell us about my character. My character's name is Dominic Willard, and he grew up in there's like forest outside of. There's a map I could show you, but like essentially where my guild Nova Vitae is from. I grew up on the forest outside there. I did a lot of hunting, but not necessarily with a bow and arrow, more just like hunting with swords. Willie the Dom, that's right. Dominic Willard Toretto, I don't know who that is. DM the bot with level instead. Oh, people getting timed out from Lobot. In any case, very honorable, just kind of character that the only thing that he could stand to be perhaps a little unjust would be his very close friends, such as William, aka the Fat Wizard, who is a member of the Seller's Keep, who, I mean, they're not necessarily evil, but, you know, they do anything for a price, more or less. And so I was good friends with William, and William notifies me. Keep in mind that it's all a game, so everything has a price. Information, names, you know, all sorts of stuff. But William freely discloses that there is... that my name is on the assassin board. Is this an RPG stream? Yes. There's always RPG streams here. What are you talking about? So, essentially, there's an assassination game, and you signed up ahead of time. If you're willing to be killed by assassins, or at least targeted, then you would sign up for that. Human!
Back. And with Elden Ring, now this is pod racing.
This is pod racing. Thank you, Rayquaza Master. Human with a tier 3 resub. Hi, Lobos. These past months have been hard on my family and me. So my mother was diagnosed with 3rd stage breast cancer. Through these dark times, watching your VODs on YouTube was a huge boost to my mental health. Her year-long treatment went well, and she is fully recovered. Thank you, Lobos, and keep doing your job. Job man.
Well, it's been an age since
Job man. Thank you so much, Human. I'm so glad that that was the end of that story. I appreciate you, and thank you. Slareth, welcome back as well. I'll talk about killing, because I did die. I did get killed. But essentially, there's an assassination game. You can sign up. You can sign up to be susceptible to essentially a backstab assassination or poisoning. I signed up for both. You could have signed up to only be poisoned, and there are rules for that as well. Do I want to go here? Nope, we're going to go back and continue doing this. I love that I can do all this just without thinking about it now. Sign me up for one poisoning, please. Your very first sub ever goes to me. I appreciate it, Human. Looking pretty good for a dead guy. Thank you. So, if you signed up for all types of assassination, you wore a red ribbon anywhere visible. And if you did just poison, you wore a green ribbon. In any case, so William, Fat Wizard, just opens the gates, and now we're talking, and I decide, like, you know what? They need to figure out who they need to kill. You know, they need to figure out a name in order to know who to target. So I started telling everybody, just call me Wolf. Call me Wolf. And it took a lot. It took a lot of reminding, but eventually people did just start calling me Wolf, which is cool. So in all the public spaces as well, like when we were getting food and they're calling out names, like I just call me Wolf. How did the second best waifu Bloody Faster do at the LARPing? I see. Outside of Hatsune Miku is what you're saying, I guess. She loved it, and we both loved it, and we're in for all of it. I'm not sure, Drunken Pelican. Probably somewhere. But it was a badass with a spear. Although she did get a battle axe. She didn't wind up using it in battle. I think she only participated in one of the battles of 3. Shut up! I'm telling stories. Get out of here. And there were 3 total battles. We'll talk about that later, because that's the whole thing. Where the heck did he die in midair? Wait, no. How would he die in midair? Where did the seed go? Oh, I see it. Okay, cool. All right. She did 2 battles? Did she? I didn't. Okay. Was she in this? She was, must have been in the second one then. Is that right? Spear fighters, yes. Oh, that's right. But yeah. Oh, we'll get to the battle. But so after much exploration and kind of looking around, we discover a place called the Lodge, which is also a guild. It's a guild called the Lodge, and they have a very nice tavern area. And they were handing out free food and drink. And we were like, well, we know where we're spending all of our time this subsequent, 4 or 5 days. Sounds sketchy, you would think, but the Lodge is just filled of hunters whose job is to defend against the monsters of HYNAFOL, whatever they may be. And there were monsters. As a side note, one of the most interesting things I think is how the event works. There's no, again, everything is as if it were the times of Arthur Pendragon. So there's no like screens, there's no technology that would exist outside of that. Of course, there's a little bit of stuff like, we had LED candles or whatever, but they all looked decorum and that sort of thing. So if you wanted to try and like piece together everything that happened, you would have to just seek out everyone and ask, like, what did you experience and this and that. So in some ways it could be possibly negative because you miss out on experiences, but in other ways, we went to they had a vendor there who was selling shirts, and we bought some stuff, and then as we were leaving, they were like, oh, by the way, there's like a search for a secret under feet at the tavern. And then we were just like, what the fuck? And so that was like a kind of breadcrumb to just start a quest and that sort of thing. Well, get on your horse. So a lot of information was just spread amongst individuals like that. Rumors, and some of it true, some of it false, all that sort of thing. Pay to win SMH. Well, I don't think you had to buy a shirt to get that info, but in any case. Where was this? Well, you can search HYNAFOL, HYNAFOL. Did I keep a diary? No, actually, I kind of played Dominic as being illiterate. I don't think there was... Yeah. But we were friends. We made very good friends quickly with a member of the Fulcrum Acolytes, who were also part of the Ligue de Freehold, which is kind of our overarching kingdom that we're a part of. And we met a good friend named Magnus, and he was a scholar, and he took a lot of notes, and he ended up doing a lot of information seeking throughout the event. So that was his character, so we kind of left that to him, as it were. But, even he, who's gathering all sorts of information, can't get everything. Jared Baldwin just asked how the food was, and if you go back and can continue the story with the same character. We'll discuss food. This is so much more extensive than you thought. Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot and very cool. We're just playing Serenix. Kind of a return stream. I'm talking about my experience with the Mega LARP. Did anything smell of hot dog water? I wish. I love the smell of hot dogs. What did smell, though, was the fact that we had to use porta potties. There wasn't any plumbing or anything like that. But we managed. We managed. And they hid the porta potties like on the little side things. So, but right, we found the lodge. And so we hung out in the lodge, and we... Oh, yeah, wait. Oh, okay. I skipped a part where we went to the tavern. The Lionheart Tavern, which is where many spent their time and coin. What did Alamaxi say? What was the best thing you ate at the Whataburger on the way there? Wow, Alamaxi. Wow. Oh, we'll get to food. We'll get to food, because I liked a lot of the food they had there. But... went to Lionheart Tavern. Bloody and I got a bottle of mead to split. We had our tankards. And boy, that mead hit a lot harder than I remembered. So by the time we reached the lodge, we were feeling real great. And of course, kept drinking. Well, we drank into the night, and the numbers thinned out. And we met the lodge master, Finnan, who was a fantastic companion, and he invited us to the secret upstairs area, where we all, it was about 10 of us or so. Myself, at this point, unfortunately, Almaxia and Ricine, who, I'm skipping so much stuff, but were our companions in Nova Vitae, had run off to bed. But we made it up there with William, this fat wizard. And we shared a hookah, and everybody introduced themselves and talked about, you know, why they came to HYNAFOL and all this. And there was a lot of information gathering and spreading and that sort of thing. And all was good. And then eventually we turned in for the night. The rest of the night was rather uneventful. The rest of that night. Hookah! Did you get that mug at Ren Fair? No! No, I did not. Wait, are you talking about this one? This is Wild Bill's old-fashioned soda pop company, baby. You have to punch an invisible wall to get to the secret area. You know, I didn't try that. Like, anywhere. And I may regret that. In any case, the following day, that was, by the way, all of that was like 4 hours of time. Just so you know. So the next day was like the first proper day with battle and everything. And in the morning, I had a competition run by a guild known as the Lang Hall. And who are Sun Bros. They are all about the sun. They literally run around and they praise the sun. They yell praise the sun. I think it's LLENG Hall, HAUL, I believe. Oh God, he's gonna tell me. Tell me. In any case, yes, the Lang Hall, the Sun Bros. They literally had like tabards with, you know, the sun. The sun. Nobody at least mentioned recognizing me, considering I'm known for Dark Souls stuff. So, so they were all just posers. No, but there was a competition held called the Solympics, and it was a 3-round, 3-phase competition, starting with it was on the joust arena field, and we had to do 4 laps around the jousting field, and the top from there went to round 2, which was essentially a modified like military fitness test kind of thing. Thanks, Juke. Bear Smash, Fuzzy Man Thing, Shadow Fox, welcome back, and thank you for the support, Fuzzy. Appreciate you. Yeah, second round was like, you know, sprint to this spot, then do a high crawl to this dummy who you then grab by the arms and drag backwards. And then you pick them up, fireman carry them here, run them all the way down, pick up this pot, throw the pot, try and aim it into the hula hoop. And if you get that, you get reduced time. And then you pick up the dude and your fireman carry all the way back, and then that was it. They were 20 pounds. Currency was very cool. Oh yeah, I didn't even talk about like our character creation, but it's pretty brief. We just went over details I've already talked about, and then we rolled dice, and depending on your dice, you would get these little gems from different, one of a few drawers, and they had symbols on them, and people were pre-designated, if they wanted to be, you know, if they wanted to sign up as merchants, and would have the ability to there's a word that I said a lot, appraise, that's the word, appraise currency. So nobody knew what it was worth until they got it appraised. Granted, I think the ones were actually just like a single line, so those you could kind of remember. And I think 5 was like a Roman numeral 5. But some of the other ones got crazy. Now they're able to put your face back to normal after that character creation. Now I just, I had sliders saved for my own face from when I was created IRL. In any case, yeah, so there's money, but the thing is, anything is a currency if somebody wants it. But, oh, that currency would have come in because phase 3 of that competition was actually a sword fight. And I was, by the end of the first 2 phases, I was number 1. I was in first place. So, it was down to 3 at that point. And place 2nd and 3rd had to sword duel against each other in order to fight me for the first place. W streamer, yes. However, I have absolutely 0 sword fighting training. And I wound up losing to Bronwyn. She was a very good sword fighter. In fact, I felt even less bad later when I learned that she also took first place in the fencing competition they had. So I was like, all right. I didn't really have much of a chance as it was. But I got by on my fitness stuff. So that what I ended up winning was a pouch of 2 coins that allowed me to ask a favor of the Lang Hall, the Sun Bros. How does sword fighting work? Well, yeah, I was going to talk about that before the battle, but we did do a sword fighting. I mean, essentially, for that duel, if you make contact with a weapon, that's a hit, that's 1 point, and you reset. And, well, that's it for that. That's it for that. But I won a pouch of 2 coins that allow me to turn in for a favor to the Sun Bros. Not that complicated. The whole battle stuff I can explain in more depth because that's a little more complicated. Zion, by the way, and B Brown, welcome back. Thank you very much. We're getting close. No, we're not getting close to done running around. We've got a lot to do, which is good because there's a lot more to talk about too. It wasn't to the death. No. It was an honor duel of just skill with the sword. This was a competition. This wasn't by no means a hostile, thing. Okay, so I got second. I got those coins. The coins were also, they had several types of these coins, and the ones I won were specifically silver and made of a rare material, rare metal called luminium, which may or may not have any sort of place in lore. Who knows? We'll have to find out. I did not initiate the duel by slapping. No, this was a premeditated competition. Everybody knew what was going on. Am I still alive? I hope so. If so, I'm talking to a bunch of ghosts and it doesn't matter. After the competition, I was tired. But it was not long before we had to muster for both weapons checking and training, LARP training. So I had my great sword. I got it approved for LARP. And then we all met in front of the castle. There was a castle there. And we had a big group talk from a man named Jack Fletcher, who has been a sword fighter, I believe, of like 30 years won all sorts of competitions, decorated. And I want to say he was Robin Hood at the Sherwood Ren Fair for several years, but Captain Jack Fletcher. I could be wrong on that. That's what I heard anyways. And I remembered that they had a Robin Hood and he hung up his hat and his bow, and that was that. I believe that was him. In any case, and let me guess he's a Fletcher. Where am I going next here? We're going to go to Liurnia. Let's go. Okay. Are you bored yet? Too bad. There's a lot more to go. So, we learned about how to fight safely. And it turned out they split us into, one side was people who had LARPed before. The other side was people who had never LARPed before, like actual combat. And I had never. And it was about like 70% of the combatants there had never LARPed before, which was huge. So a lot of newbies and then a lot of pros. So it's not a replay, Junior. So we learned about how LARP combat works. And I had a great sword. Two-handed weapon. Essentially, you do your best to land taps on different parts of the body. Every body part, there's six places you can hit. The legs, the arms, the body, and the top of the head. And by default, they each have 1 hit point, unless you're wearing armor. A lot of this is like honor code, right? Like, if you get hit, you better count your damage. Otherwise, why? Don't be a jerk.
Oh, did you know?
So I had, if you saw my photo, I had like a studded leather, like brigandine chest thing. And because it was leather, that would count for 1 point of armor. But I had steel pauldrons in like a gorget, and that was 2 points of armor. So I would need to get hit 3 times on the shoulder before my arm would be cut off. And then you cannot use that limb. If you lost a leg, you essentially had to sit down. I originally was like, oh, I'll pogo, but they were just like, just sit down. Just sit down. If you lose both legs, you're just dead, basically. Just commit Sudoku and call it a day. If you die, you can... there is healing out in the battlefield, because we haven't even talked about it, but there are religions, and for every 10 members of a religion, you can have 1 healer. Healers basically take 1 minute. They have an hourglass timer, and if they are with you and touching you for 1 minute, they will heal you to full. Healers can also be killed, so they were prime targets on the battlefield. Can you reroll stats? There were no stats for this. Only really rolls. If you die and you would like to respawn, you need to go back to your team's respawn point, touch it with your weapon, ow, and walk back to the field, and you're good to go. You restore lost limbs. If you're healed, everything is back to full. Everything. So if you have no limbs, but you're still alive, and you get healed, you'll go back to full. You'll have all your limbs back and everything. Oh my goodness. Awkward. Touch it with your weapon. Yeah, it was like it was a wooden sign banner. I know, you're just being lewd or whatever, but that's what it was. And I don't have any pictures of the battle, but there were official photographers and everything, and I'm sure it'll take some weeks to get that all edited and, photos selected and all that sort of thing. This is casual fun while we're recanting our trip to HYNAFOL. Anyways, we learned about how to LARP, and the gist is basically the wars, the battles are won with spears, because they're very long, and they stack behind the tower shields, and so we learned how to form a shield wall. I, however, was not using a spear. And I felt somewhat bad because I think there was at least one time where there were extra spears and they're like, grab a spear, it's the best thing you can do. And I had my great sword and I'm like, I want to try great sword. So I use the great sword every time. But, hello, Bowling for Mimics. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll be off and on this chat, trying to keep up with the Discord too, but I threw a view here. Oh, thank you, Bowling for Mimics. Who were you in game? Interesting that your name is Bowling for Mimics. We haven't gotten to the Mimics yet, but were there any fun encounters in the tavern? Oh, very many. There was one that I was central to that we'll talk about, which is night 3. I'm like, Guts, sort of. Sort of. Something like that. Thank you very much, Cracked Lantern. This is live, Bose, yes. Which tavern? Lion of the Lodge? At the Lodge is where I had a particular encounter happen. Could you switch weapons during the battle? Absolutely. If I died and went back, I could pick up a spear, a spare spear, and start using the spear. You're a Lodge bartender mostly. Oh, nice. Awesome. Can we get a bar on the bottom of the screen that mentions your real boss? No. Wait, a bar? What kind of bar? So you took on 100 men by yourself at the LARP, right, Lobos? That's right. Yep, I took 100 men's swords to the face. Correct. What if this VOD gets replayed? There you go. See? It's only live now in the moment, and then it's gone. Yeah, like, so if you were a healer, you could also have a bow, and you could be using the bow while you're not needing to heal anybody. If you're an archer, you could have a sword, so if somebody closes in, then you got a sword, boom, there you go. There were rules for everything, you know. Archers try not to hit in the face, of course, or the crotch. If you do, basically just kill yourself and go back and respawn, because oopsies, you did a poopsies. And accidents happen, of course, and accidents did happen, and there were times where you have to call hold and make sure that whoever got hit in a certain way is okay and everything like that. The arrows are like the ones that work for this particular LARP are like flat foam tipped arrows. If you search LARP arrows on Google, you'll see. There's also rounded ones, but those were not allowed as far as I know. How many people died? So many. I mean, in game. How much do you need to invest to be able to do something like this? Now, well, let me specify, because this is a 5-day event, which included breakfast and dinner, and a tent, and spot on the grounds, and all of that. And so for the two of us, I think it was like 2,500 or something like that for 5 days for all that stuff. But there are LARP events that are 1 day, that are several hour events, or and they also had a pass where people could buy a 1 day pass and come in and just do whatever. Yeah, so that's what we did, and that was a couples package, right? So we also got our own tent and that sort of thing. But in any case, the rest of the investment comes from how cool you want to look and how much stuff you want to have. I'll go through here. I'll really quickly go through our brief. Oh, I closed it. Where is it? Let me get the link. The photos I had. I posted my photo on Twitter, though, and I'll just show you that one, because that's... Yeah. So this is what I wore for the battle, which was... This is steel. This isn't that heavy, but the leather thing was probably like 20 pounds. And so it adds up. And that's what Bloody wore as well. Control-Shift-T. What does that do? Reopen a tab? I don't want to open my Gilf fan site, though. Dibs on the Daedric armor. Yeah. People had some really sweet-ass armor. I think after the whole LARP thing, I decided that because I play as a flanker and I'm not up on the shield wall, and my best bet is chasing people who are trying to flank around or to flank myself, that I'll probably go lighter next time. But on the shield wall, it'd be great because you could absorb hits to the shoulder and whatever, especially if you have a helmet, bops on the head. Although I don't remember if the bops with the spear were... Oh, God. Legal or not. But it's very cool. We still didn't get past the training portion of it, but everybody that had a tower shield lined up, and they taught us how to do a proper shield wall and that sort of thing. And then we had like a really quick, just makeshift skirmish against the... I think it was beginners versus experienced LARPers. And there were a lot more beginners, but yeah, it was intense. And then after that, I think we went into our groups. How much did you spend on the armor? So that full get up there with the steel and the leather and a tunic underneath, and I think bracers, I think was about $350. Which, all things considered, that's pretty much the whole outfit, and that's wasn't super bad. But the prices vary very much, depending on whether you're going custom, whether you're doing super manufactured, just spat out pieces. I saw somebody else with the exact same spalders I had, and I was like, yeah, I get it. But yeah. Can you rent gear? The only loaner stuff they had were spears and tower shields. If you wanted to battle, let's make this real quick. But yeah. In any case, we split up into the... So, the battles were essentially to decide who would have seats at the council that presides or, rules or makes the decisions for HYNAFOL as a whole. Because it was a new land that we came to and nobody owned it, so we thought. Nobody had any sort of claim to it. And so how do you agree on how to run it? So that's what the battles determined. Glorious that's how elections, yeah. Well, we won't go there. In any case, the first round, it was the League de Freehold, which included my guild, Nova Vitae. Did we have a flag? Our respawn point was sort of a flag, but I don't think, again, a lot of us were new LARPers and didn't lean a whole lot into super detail stuff. One of the guys in our guild had a tower shield that was fully, painted with our colors and our logo and that sort of thing. There, nobody used a holy hand grenade, but I did see a holy hand grenade at a chapel at one point. So I'm not sure Imperial Hell because I didn't see anybody that was a thing, but I also don't know if people reached out in private to find out and there were no options. But there are roles on the battlefield that require not you to be running around and attacking people. In fact, Alamaxia in the third battle chose to be a water bearer who was neutral and was just there to give water to people as necessary. So I think at that point, I must admit, after the first battle, I was like, there's no way I'm doing other battles because my legs are dead. But I did them all. I don't regret it. I'll do a lot more question answering after the whole thing because otherwise this will take forever. Yeah, there's a photo that Alamaxia posted myself. Alamaxia and Fat Wizard. You're talking continuously in a loud Scandinavian tone. Carve your name onto your pie. No. Tell me your name. Just every time You aggro somebody in the battle. No, I didn't. Okay, I did not. Goofy on the lips.
Wait. Lobos, did you LARP at Bicolin?
Goofy on the lips, 1,000 bits. I did not LARP at Bicolin. This event was my first one. But I know that guilds such as the March Wardens and Nova Vitae and probably several others are also at Bicolin, or however you say it. That's up in, like, what, Montreal or something? Up in Canada. That's a huge one. And I was watching some videos. I think they had, like, something like 3,500 people or something, all in a LARP battle. And I watched, and there was like 45 minutes of like crawling through brush and trees and stuff. And then there was also, you know, just frontline battle stuff. It's nuts. I lost some hair on the sides. Yes, I did. I didn't lose it. I threw it away. I did not pick up the kukri. Hold on. I didn't pick up the kukri. It's the one item I didn't pick up near the Glintstone Dragon. All right, let's go grab those real quick. Hold up. South this way. Okay. 1 square mile battlefield. It is nuts. How do you determine if you died? We kind of went over that already, but essentially there's 6 points that you can attack. Legs, arms, body, or top of the head. And each body part has 1 hit point. If you get hit in the body or the head, you are dead. And there is armor. You can use armor to reduce that damage. But it just comes down to a number of hits. There they are. So if I was wearing nothing and I walked up and a spear went boop in the chest, I'm dead. Walk back to respawn and you touch your weapon on the flag they had there and respawn. In any case, after the first battle... Oh, I didn't even talk about how the battle works. So it was we walked out, probably about 20 minutes of walking, to a big field with some sparse trees, and oh my god, so many spiky ass burrs. So many burrs. Stickers, if you're not familiar with burrs as the name. But it was only really super bad the first day. The middle of the battlefield was basically just super tall grass filled with burrs. And as a skirmisher, as a flanker, we didn't talk about the objectives, but my first thing was to basically sprint out to the middle to capture an objective. And in doing so, I covered my legs from like the knee down, just in so many burrs. It was just so covered. And I had to spend the next like 5 minutes picking them off of my sock. I didn't care about if they were on my shoe or whatever, because I couldn't feel that. But the ones on my sock, I felt very much. But after that battle, everybody was aware of it. A lot of them had been just stamped out, and it wasn't so bad. But the way that the battle worked is, this particular one, there were, I think, 8 bags in the center of the field. And they were worth stuff, so the initial rush was grab the bags, bring them back to your respawn, and if you got them, you got them, and that was it. But there were 5 points. And
Biko was a ton of fun this year. I hope you continue enjoying LARPing.
Goofy, thanks for the bits. Yeah, Biko looks nuts. I'm hoping that, you know, HYNAFOL just continues to grow and does that. Then they were talking about doing more events, little small events throughout the year up until the second HYNAFOL convenes. And yeah, Bloody and I are both like, yep, we'll be at like all those. Just like little battles, one off in here and there. But, oh god. So the bags in the center were an objective, and then there was like, if you imagine the 5 on a die, how it's like 2, 1, 2. There were objectives that had like chess clocks, right? and it was red or blue buttons on them. And we were all assigned either Team Red or Team Blue, and we wore ribbon to distinguish between the two. And the goal was to have as much time to for your team across all the objective points. And so, of course, if you push to the objective, you hit. If we were Team Red, if you hit the red, you'll start counting time towards your victory on that clock. And by the end of it, we had won quite handily. It was something like 100 total minutes, 109 minutes or something like that, to like 60 or 50 or something like that. But I would say that we had numbers. We had very good organization. We had, generals put in the center. We had a general who was just, as you respawned, he was like calling out where to go, where to send reinforcements and support and that sort of thing. And so we won, and that was great. And that was the end of the first battle. And so then we ate. Then we went to eat, and they had the Robin's Kitchen, which was I would you're still in character and stuff, but there was a lot of just kind of out of character socialization, as well as eating with plastic forks and knives and this sort of thing. And you could bring your own decorum stuff, but of course, at a certain point, it's like, all right, it's okay. Just don't expect to be immersed in while you're chomping foods and eating pizza and stuff like that. How many people in a battle? I don't know the counts on each battle there. The total LARP attendance was, I would say, around, I think, like 300 something was the number. But yeah, I don't, oh gosh. Oh, it's okay. If I had to guess, the first day, it's kind of foggy for me. The first day, I would say it was probably like 60 versus like 45, something like that. And I don't remember what our first meal was. Anybody remember what the first meal was? The first lunch. Or the first dinner, I guess. We didn't talk about breakfast. The first breakfast was breakfast tacos, and I was ecstatic because I love breakfast tacos. The end. And then there was the first dinner. I don't remember what it was. In general, I was very okay with the food. Some people were kind of hit or miss on it. And then outside of breakfast and dinner, they sold like a burger. The burger was actually very good, so I had the burger quite a few times. What about second breakfast? Gruel sandwiches. Not quite. I want to go back here now. Yes, and go into Rea Lucaria. Okay. I wanted to celebrate my 47 months with Rerun Boast Jr., but he did not respond. I'd like to have you to have a talk with him. He is from a different time, a different era. I can no longer commune with him. I apologize. John Cosimo, Cross Entropy, Real McDan, Quants. Thanks for the resubs, guys. All right, Steampunk. One random, interesting, fun fact. The Solvay Hut is the world's most dangerously placed mountain hut, located 13,000 feet or 3,900 meters above ground level in Switzerland. I'd like to book a stay at the Solvay Hut. Let's go. Mezerin, 20 months. Loke, 62 months. What a joyous fact. Could be, but treacherous. Treacherous, yet joyous. Go into more detail about this burger. As far as I know, all the burgers were made fresh. They had the grill right there. Standard toppings, lettuce, tomato, pickle, onion. I never got onions, of course. Mustard, ketchup, mayonnaise. It was very good. Very good. It was not orc burger, no. Sorry. I apologize. Oh, yeah, there's a golden seed at the other spot. That's what I was trying to go for. Wait a minute. I didn't touch the... Oh. I didn't touch the grace over there. Condiment tier list when? That's a complicated subject. But I'm down. Give me a tier list and we can do it. Okay. So we ate dinner and stuff. And I'm definitely forgetting stuff. We went and took a shower. They had showers that were just outside the grounds. They were very good showers, plenty of hot water. However, the very first shower I took, something latched onto my knee and just dug in. I say something because I just slapped and smashed and squeezed and couldn't tell what it was by the end of it. It wasn't, as far as I could tell, it wasn't poisonous, but like it made me bleed. It could have just been a big fire ant or something. Something being a bug. Yeah. No, not like an ocelot or some shit. But for a moment I was like, did I just get bit by a dangerous spider or something? But it was fine. It was fine. Oh my. Okay. Yes. So that was showers. And then it's a little bit foggy, but I do remember there were some fantastic events that happened. I'm trying to remember how it all kicked off, because at one point things just kind of became chaos. I think we were at the lodge, which again, we spent a lot of our downtime in the lodge, which was a great place to be. Hello, Vang. And you know what? I think we were walking from the lodge. It was dark at this point, so like very dark. That we encountered cloaked beings with white masks that were I think there had been a little bit of information passed around regarding two enemy types, shades and mimics. And shades supposedly feared light sources, so carry a light source. And then I think William, Fat Wizard, had mentioned something about, like, if you see shades, invoke the name of the lady of the lake, the Lady Nimue, and they will protect you. And that will protect you. And then there are mimics who will mimic your movements. And there were a couple ways to deal with them. Namely, if you're armored, especially, if you were to plunge a weapon into your armored chest, your armor would protect you, but the mimic would die because they would stab themselves. So I had heard this info and I was like, okay. And we started walking back to our camp, and then I think I was in the camp, in the tent, and there was just ruckus outside, and there were like 3 or 4 figures in cloaks with white masks. And so we had our weapons out, and we were like, what the fuck? And had our light sources out. Ow. I said something, I couldn't remember the name exactly, so I said something about Lady Niue instead of Nimue and this and that. That was a group that had just killed you. Oh my gosh. My gosh. Oh no, it wasn't just killed you. I think they killed you after they got to me. In any case, we didn't have enough light sources for everybody. So, like, I gave my light source to Bloody, or Kendra was her in-game name, to Kendra, and then I huddled near like a lantern that was on a post, and just kind of was like, is this enough? And then they came and stabbed me, and I fell. Nobody called for a healer. Hello, Sir Lockenden, hail. You died down near the March Wardens. Yeah, so I died near our tents. And then I think they went on to kill you at the March Wardens. So, yeah, they stabbed me in the back like 6 times. Also, we were informed that there are monsters out in the world, and if they wield red weapons, the red weapons are instant death. And you also cannot block them if you block one of their attacks, you instantly die as well. So, yeah, monsters are scary. Even if you got armor and everything, it's just, oh, please no madness, please no madness, no madness, no madness. So, yeah, I got stabbed in the back a bunch, and then I lay on the ground for some time. Nobody called for a healer. And the way it works is if you do not get healed or stabilized within 3 minutes, you permanently die. Permanent die. Like, you actually fully die. Oh, God. Madness. So I fully died. And upon doing that, you return to, like, the front. There's a... Oh, gosh. I returned to story, which was... There's a building in the front, and if the lady Tracy's here, she would remember because I couldn't figure out. I didn't notice where the entrance to the place was, and there were like kind of closed doors that I kept pushing on. And she's like, "There's a front door," and then I went the other way around. I was like, no, front door. Anyways, I made my way in there, and I was like, "I died," and she was like, "Ooh, exciting." And so when you die, you put your name into a book of heroes. I want to say it was called something like that. Anyways, so I wrote down my name. I wrote down what was happening because you lose the last 30 minutes of memory from when you died, from before you died. For me, luckily, there was just mostly walking around and walking back and forth between places. And so I didn't lose a whole lot of info. I knocked over a ton of posters. Look. The lodge was giving drinks freely, and I'm going to blame it on that. Clumsy ghost. In any case, I entered my name into the book of heroes or whatnot. And put how I died, I want to say. And then the way that this Book of Heroes works is if you die, your name goes in there. If you die again, this is going to suck. This guy's going to kick my ass. If you die again, you get a mark. Now, if you get 5 marks in the book, your character is permanently dead forever. So, you know, 1/6 of the way there with this. Which, you know, a lot of people put a lot of effort into these, into these characters and all that, and it would be a shame to have to lose all that. So now I started to get worried about being killed, you know? I'm like, oh, I'm on that way. Oh, no. I'm on the way. Sir? Let's see if we can do this. Some of this here. Yeah? No, I don't like that. I don't like that. I don't like that. No, sir! Dang it. I thought he was going to fall and die too. You die if you're killed. That is true. That is true. Dr. 12, Cuddler, Acole, Cayenne, Lokes, Mazarin. Okay, I caught up. Thank you guys so much for the resubs. The cheesa became the cheesed. So I died, and then there was a little bit of information whispered to me, which was something along the lines of... My memory is trash, okay? And it's not just because I roleplayed and died and lost my memory. But it was something along the lines of, like, my key... Or my box can only be opened with my key. Something like that. And I believe it hinted towards something a bit later on in the second battle. Something like that. New player, what? Oh, got recommendations for a build to a new player. I mean, these games are all about... The reason I love these games so much is you can do it with any build. So I would say pick whatever you have the most fun with. Whether that be magic, whether that be, you know, spearman or knight guy or whatever. Just go with whatever. It all works. It all works. Was it the mead? We drank a lot of mead, and it was great. It was great. So very good. In any case, I came back to life. I, in character, did not know what happened, but I do remember re-stepping into the mists. So... So I relayed that information as best I could. There was a lot more chaos. Shades and mimics were all over the place as I was walking back. There was like, you know, people are tied up with mimics that are just... They're just standing in the road and they're like trying to figure out how to deal with these mimics. Uh-oh. The shades were somewhat manipulatable. Able to be manipulated with light sources because you could push them. You know, they would flee from the light sources. So people ended up dragging them all the way to the lodge where the aforementioned Lady of the Lake, Lady Nimue, was, and she was performing these kind of healing rituals that would actually cure them. They removed their mask, and then they were normal or so. Instances of rule breaking / immersion breaking. No real major ones. Hey, thank you, Aaron J6. I appreciate you very much. Are mute LARPers allowed? I don't see why not. You could totally LARP a mute character. Like, yeah, that could totally be your character, which I would find to be really interesting too. Oh, I don't have any of this stuff yet. Oh gosh. Okay, let's go back here. Yes, Fort Pharaoh. So, amidst all that chaos, we were walking around. Things were going crazy. Someone was also like, "Death is on his way!" And we were like, "What?" And so we went out and we found freaking Death with a big scythe, was like being led. He was just like slowly following somebody, you know, like some sort of kiteable MMO boss. And they were like, "Let's lead Death to the lodge." So they led Death to the lodge and he walked through it. And I don't think anything really happened with that necessarily, but then then Death moved on, and that was that. And what else happened that night? I'm trying to remember how the night ended. How did it end? Oops, I can't mount here. If you remember Alamaxia, you can remind me. But I think... I don't know. I think at some point we just... Oh no! Wrong place to jump! I think we finished drinking and then just went to bed or whatever. Death moved on, yeah. Well, I think the way Death was working was just slowly following one person, so they kind of controlled them. Yeah, I think that was it, yeah. Either that or there was something at the castle. Yada, yada, yada. Death's gone now. No, I don't think that was the castle night. It was the next night that was the castle night. Okay. Yeah. So then day 3, technically, but like the second full day. We wake up. Breakfast was burritos. There was something kind of early. I thought that I don't remember what was in the morning on day 2. Do you remember Alamaxia? I remember a lot of stuff, but then some pieces of the days are fuzzy. Friday was biscuits and gravy. I liked it a lot. Because otherwise we just moved to the battle. What was what again? The traditional medieval burrito, yes. To get fed after bringing our supplies. With the package that we purchased, we got breakfast and dinner complimentary. Oh, I got the medallion piece, and now we need to go get the other medallion piece. Good. Let's go. Pretty much went straight from breakfast to battle. There was just, there was talks most of the day because there was supposed to be heavy rain. And there was, and we'll get to that. But we mustered for battle on day 2. The numbers had thinned considerably. Oh, and this is where there was some drama. Now, I didn't really care about most of this stuff, but And there was some drama because we all got ready. We did the same thing. We marched out. We had similar ideas for objectives. There were no bags, but there were time clocks. Except now the time clocks, you could take them. So you could, accrue time on a clock. And then when it seems like you were going to lose that, just take the clock. And it would kill that objective for the entire game. It was like a 35-ish, 40% drop on fighters, but Kendra joined us. Kendra did join us. We were outnumbered 3-1. So we were outnumbered, which wasn't great. But then also, by some means, I think Seller's Keep had brewed potions of invulnerability, which, to my knowledge, were not supposed to be used on the battlefield. But they were. And at that point, it's just like, all right, go with it. And so they had 3 of their members use potions of invulnerability and sit on the objectives for game 1, which, by the way, lasts 10 minutes out of the 15-minute round. And so, yeah, once we found out that was happening, everybody was just kind of like, what do we do? What do we do now? There was a lot of just kind of sitting after respawn and going like, I don't know. Wait for round 2 and try and do better. Morale definitely took a hit. And there were people who were genuinely, unhappy about it. But... it was a misunderstanding, and that was not supposed to be legal for the game. Round 2, we did fight our best. There was no invulnerability potion, whatever. But we still ultimately lost due to numbers and other things. So, Battle Day 2 was a bit rough. And then... Oh, all right, that's fine. I believe there was a prize for, as part of the battle, you could have found, I think, a key, perhaps the one that was mentioned in Whispers when I respawned, that could open a chest, which I believe went to the winner of Battle Day 2. Since nobody found the key, and the other side, which, by the way, is the Imperium. We are the League de Freehold, our collection of guilds, and then we were fighting against the Imperium for control of HYNAFOL, or for distribution of power to HYNAFOL. I imagine somebody stepping into the stream just in the middle of all this discussion and being like, what the fuck is going on? What is he talking about? But the box supposedly had belonged to Merlin, the wizard. And so, it was believed that there was something very powerful within. The real one! Yes. Thank you, Noise Tank. I appreciate you. So, I think there was a council to decide to vote on whether or not to open the box. And I believe the answer was... I wasn't actually there for that. There was a decision that the box shall be opened, and then within the box, there was 2 papers, I believe. One was a map that had a round table, which was a part of, there was an actual round table there with seats all around it, elevated and everything. There was a map with, the round table, highlighted, and then there was kind of a cryptic message that was it was something along the lines of it was like the rights of HYNAFOL, or the power of HYNAFOL, will be decided in a battle of steel. You will sit 10 council members at the round table with one seat open for the original, for essentially Arthur or whatever. And then it said the Lord would be summoned, something to that extent. And so it was kind of a puzzle thingy, and everybody was like, what's going on with this? And we had to do it like the next night, the following night, on the third night. Or I guess the third major night. Technically the fourth. In any case, that all happened, and we're like, what the hell? And then we learned that the Imperium was going to be summoning death for the third day of battle. And we were just like, what the what's going on? And it hit nighttime. And there was a little bit of rain, but it wasn't too bad so far. Okay, and I have to tell the story, but at some point, there was like some minor rain, some thunder, and I was talking to William, and William was like, dude, there was some couple back at our camp just fucking going at it. Just no, like for like 15 minutes. And I was like, oh, okay. Oh, that sucks. But like 15 minutes, whatever. And then we went back like 30 minutes later to camp or something like that. And they were still banging loudly, not discreetly at all. And at that point, the group was rather sauced, and I won't be specific, but there was some yelling that happened, and the dude came out, and he was like, "Man, did you hear somebody yelling?" And then there was some more yelling, more directed this time. Hopefully, they got the message, and that was the night of the tent fuckers. Hardcore LARPing, man. But like, there's no. If I farted in my tent, like people 100 yards away would hear it. Like there was no sort of sound protection, and they're just going. All right, so that's what they want to do. This is good. All of this collection is almost going to be. I think it's going to be wrapping up right around as we finish. But artifacts. Welcome back, Foxy Grandpa, Matt Chewidis, Adjusting My Threshold, Park Shark, RBS Davies, to Cuddler, Egghole Cayenne. Thank you guys. Thank you all. Thank you for indulging my stories. I hope you enjoy them. In any case, that was like, we were like, all right, whatever. At that point, Kendra and I were like, you know what? Let's go to the tavern. Let's just let things cool off. So I went to the tavern. Drank. Oh, you know what? I think. Wait, this is still the second day? Oh, it is the second day. Oh, it's the second day. The second day, there was to be an event called the Night of Magic that we had signed up for. But we unfortunately didn't end up attending just because timing ran. We weren't carrying around our phones or anything, so I only checked time like once or twice a day. Alamaxi and company did have their timepieces, so we could check here and there, but we ultimately made it to the Night of Magic too late, so we didn't get to participate. But it culminated and ran straight into an event called, it was a masquerade hosted by the Sellers Keep, which is the definitely not assassin group that, they do anything for coin. And Dominic still had a hit out on him. I knew that my name was on the board of the Sellers Keep, and people were looking for Dominic to kill him, to claim a bounty. So we sat kind of in the back. I had my back against the wall for the longest time. And I don't think there's anything I actually need up here. So I'm going to continue on this way. And we were wearing masks. I had a wolf mask. I'm going to go down here, actually. Had a sweet black wolf mask. A lot of people wearing masks. We were a bit, in the back. So I honestly couldn't tell if there ended up being any sort of specific festivities that the masquerade was putting on. There was a girl who was playing songs on violin throughout the event, and they were taking tips, and it was really awesome. And she was there playing. But at some point, it seemed to kind of be winding down, so we got up and we were talking there. And I don't know how. I played along with it because I thought it was interesting, but somebody handed me a poison card. Oh boy. But I did not ingest anything that they gave me. There are rules for the poison game where it's like if you can have any item and consider it poisoned, and if you can get somebody else to hold that item for like, I don't remember, it's like 5 or 6 seconds, then they will contract a poison, and you will hand them a card that says open in 10 minutes. And in 10 minutes, you open the card and you find out what kind of poison you've contracted. So, oh gosh, not this again. Pay attention. Very cool. Very cool way to have poison work. Also, if you had anybody, you know, you could have a bottle of mead and be like, oh, you want some mead? And be like, oh, yeah, sure. And you get them to drink your mead. Well, they're poisoned. Hand them the card and then whatever. Fat Wizard, or William, had a really swag death, or rather poisoning, of somebody we were in our party we were talking to. And I wasn't privy to the discussion too much, but they were talking about some item. She had this star item, and William was like, oh, could I see that real quick? Like, and he held it for long enough that would just put the poison on it, blah, 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 blah. And they died. Well, they didn't die. What happened is their muscles all fully tensed up, and they were just paralyzed in fear. And she was just screaming, which was real good, because everybody was like looking over like, what the fuck's happening? But there was a healer. We called for a healer, and the healer managed to heal the poison. So that's good. Then on the way out, again, like I said, somebody did come up to me. They handed me one of the you got poisoned cards. I reviewed like the last 10 minutes, and I was like, I don't think I got poisoned, but I'll get poisoned. That's fine. And I wanted to move to a different location to kind of make it, I don't know, I thought it'd be more interesting if people were getting poisoned across the grounds instead of all at this party, which would kind of make it obvious. But I went to the lodge, and we sat down for a bit of a drink, and I was timing in my head roughly. It was probably more like 12 minutes, but I opened my card, and it said, immediately go into a rage and attack whoever is closest to you. And up to this point, the lodge had been very much like, there's no fighting in the lodge. Like, you know, if you want to fight, take your business elsewhere. So I picked up my greatsword, and I considered, because of Dominic's, I don't know, long friendship with William, I took it a little differently. I more threatened at him, and I just started yelling at him like have at you, and like, fight me, you coward, and this and all that, and like, and they were like, dude, if you want to fight, step out of the lodge. And so I stepped out, and I just kept yelling and yelling, and everybody's like, what the fuck? And Finnan, the lodge master, was like, what's your deal, dude? And I was just like, come here and I'll show you. I'll fucking cut your head off. And there was a little bit of back and forth there, and it was tense. And he'd pull a fast one on me too, which is fine. And he was like, all right, get him, like, from behind. And so I turned around, and he took the opportunity to slice me down and took my leg out. So there I was on the ground, not dead, but I was still, like, you know, swinging at people that came by. And then he cut my arm off, and then I couldn't swing. But then they called for a healer. They healed me up, and then there was a bit of, you know, recovery period and discussion about what the fuck happened. I mentioned the masquerade and getting poisoned, and sure enough, a minute into that discussion, somebody else just starts randomly attacking somebody else, and they have to take them down and heal them. And then they were like, well, shit, we got people at the masquerade right now from the lodge, so let's form a team and go recover our allies. And I was like, you know, I feel responsible, so I will join you on this and do what I can. And so a little party went out to started heading towards the Lionheart Tavern to save their friends from whatever was going on at the masquerade. But we ended up meeting them on the way to the Lionheart Tavern. They were okay, but yeah, they kept their distance from the masquerade. There's also a moment where I was talking to William, and behind him there was a fairy type lady who was very sneaky around him, and I was like, behind you, William. And she called me a snitch and moved on. But there was another game that you could have signed up for, which I didn't, which was a pickpocketing game, which was very cool. And you had a pouch and 6 little clips on it, like a clothesline clip, you know. And you could pickpocket people's clothesline clips. And there's a very good story of our good friend Magnus, who I mentioned a while ago, who went and he signed up for the game, got his pouch, and within 25 minutes, got all of his clips stolen by 2 people. So we just had to laugh at that. So that was entertaining. Did someone just level up? Huh? Huh? Okay, I've made it here. I've done a lot of running around. Now I actually need to get a weapon together. So still got some running around. Still got some stories to tell. After all that, I think that was still part of the same... Was that the same night with the storm? I'm just going to die because I'm in combat. But at some point, we're at the lodge, hanging out, drinking, and somebody yells, "Tornado warning! Tornado warning, get to the castle." And we're like, fuck. And because there was a storm. Remember this storm that's supposed to be happening all day? And so we all start booking it. It's pitch black. People's got lanterns and candles. And we're booking it to the castle, which is probably, I don't know, just like a 2-minute run down the road. And there's like lightning, and it's like going crazy, and it starts pouring so hard. Everybody's getting drenched, and we're like, what the fuck? And we make our way into the castle, and oops, I got into combat again. And we hole up in the castle. Your tent was flooded that night. There were some unfortunate consequences of that storm, yes. But we all piled into the castle. People started singing some tunes. It turned out there wasn't actually a tornado warning for our area. It was just severe thunderstorm warning. But I must admit that moment of, you know, was very adrenaline pumping, and it was exciting. I live in Texas, and I've been through hundreds of tornado warnings, and I'm not saying that tornadoes aren't dangerous, but the warning is like, okay, there is cyclonic activity that could spawn a tornado, so watch the fuck out. Ally yelling, "Get to the castle, tornado warning." Yeah, it was good. November is a hell of a time to do a large-scale outdoor event. Yeah. No, it was actually, I mean, that's a good time for here because that's where it kind of starts to cool off. It can. Or Texas can just be like, fuck you, and then it's, 100 degrees in end of December, and we're just like, what the hell? But in any case, we bided our time in there, bode our time. There was also a very well dressed up orc in the castle with 2 swords, and we were all just kind of like, what the heck? And it posed an opportunity for a little bit of RP around orcs. And it turns out that orcs were there during the time of Arthur. And Arthur was basically like, fuck orcs, I'm not allying with orcs. And practically, like, you know, ordered genocide on orcs and drove them out, or not necessarily drove them out, but just had them in hiding and whatever. And so we show up, and the orc is like, this is our land. Get the hell out of here. And we're like, nah, we're gonna like, you know, we're gonna do our thing. But now we've got this whole idea of orcs were here first. And Arthur was like, fuck you. Are we gonna be like, fuck you? And I think the resounding consensus is yes. Fuck orcs. I mean, that's probably what's gonna wind up anyways. But we'll see what happens. We'll see. In any case, there was some cool RP moment there. It'd be introduced to orcs. And there were a couple of people dressed up as orcs later for like battles and stuff. But I actually didn't converse much with the orcs. Well, because, you know, I'm horribly racist against them. Not really. Oh, God. This is going to come back to bite me in the ass when... someday. In any case, yeah. We leave the castle. Something happened. Maybe that was when the tent fucking happened, actually, on the way back. But there was more. There was more. I think that was when tent fuckers made their appearance. And... oh, no! I remember now. That was the night that we decided to pay a visit to the dwarves. The dwarves, whom we had not met yet. And the dwarves had a lovely location. And we went and we hung out with them. They had drinks. Ow. Ow. Ow, ow, ow. One of the extremely notably good archers... kill me. Oh! Never mind. In the battles was there. He was like pro AF and just he would, if you saw him, if you didn't see him and he took a shot at you, you're dead. Dwarves had drinks? Yes. And the dwarves played a game where only the dwarves had really like, you know, were kind of quote unquote forced to play this game. But they had these wooden spherical balls, and if you had a drink and someone managed to toss a ball in your drink, you had to finish that drink. But you only really had to if you were a dwarf. Nobody else had to really abide if you don't want to or whatever. They had all agreed to it. So there were ball happenings. So beer pong, I mean, sort of, but it's just, you know, if you're sitting there talking to someone, and it's more like sneaky beer pong, sneak pong. I will continue to say that at one point, Kendra, Bloody Faster, had 7 balls in her mug. And Ricine, Ranger Liz, also had encountered quite a few balls. I know this is... we all know what we're talking about, right? But anyways, I got balled a couple times too, and my drinks... some people had beer. I had some very strong mixed drinks. There was a particular fae who... was not drinking, but, you know, she could play the game. So she was just balling everybody. She was balling everybody. Needless to say, not long after, we had to all retreat to bed and pass the fuck out. Sleeping at night wasn't too bad. We had this couples package. So we had an air mattress, and we brought bed pads for the tops, and we had enough blankets and stuff. And that night it got colder. It was about 50, and so we were okay. Not the most comfortable, of course, air mattress, but you know, camping, if you've camped, it's that, and it wasn't so bad. But it did yes, after all the rain happened, we were fortunate. Myself and Kendra and Alamaxia and Ricine, our tents did not get flooded. However, our adjacent tent with Magnus and our good friend William had many of his belongings on the ground, and unfortunately they just got soaked. And so that night and in the morning there were efforts to help, hang clothes and try and several people were flooded, and it wasn't the best, but we were lucky, so that's okay. We were lucky. And here I am. Okay, so what sword am I going to use for this build? We'll take a quick story break while I figure out what I'm going to use for this. Do you take Bloody's balls for her as a good husbando would? No, I didn't take her balls. They were hers. Keep getting insufficient privileges error when launching Elden Ring on Steam. I feel like I've tried everything. Could anyone add me some things that would work if you ever ran into this? Well, do you have the privilege to play Elden Ring? Golden Order Sword. Is that the one from the first boss, the tutorial boss? Or are you talking about the Crusader? No, it's not the Crusader one. Dragon Breaths. If nobody's got any strong opinions, I'll go find something for myself. Or I could just get a Lord Sworn sword again for me. Verified over again, and this is your third reinstall. I don't know. My great sword, please. This is the knight build. I'm gonna go see what the vendor over here has. Let's go see. Little stabby blade below round table hold. Oh, that's a faith build. I mean, I don't know. That's not a knight build. Maybe for a paladin or something. A light knight? Ha, light knight. You ever used a tree spear? No, but I'm not really a spear guy. So I'm not really big on spears. Sort of Knight in Flame? What does this look like, an intelligence build? No! I play my games like I play my roleplay characters. Dumb and hit good. Well, I don't have the hit good yet. Quite yet, IRL, but we'll get there. We are absolutely, immediately jumping into historical weapons training, so that will be in the future for us. Let's see what you got here, brother.
What do you don't want any trouble?
Eegee's hammer. Sword of Night and Flame with insufficient stats. I mean, there's always trusty broadsword. Do love me a good broadsword. Like, normal shoes were okay if they didn't have markings and colors and all this stuff. So I had like these black, basically Skechers that were slip-on that I wore most of the time. And then for the battles, it wound up, I had like these military boots that were all black, no logos, none of that. And you can get like gaiters and put them over so they look more like boots. But it wasn't a big deal. A lot of people just had like, hefty boots for that sort of thing. About the finger for a bit, since it's got a ring on it. I can do the ring. I mean, I can do the finger. I have no qualms with finger. It's a great weapon. That's why I used it for most of the Soul Level 1. I mean, Rune Level 1 run. Did you check out other people's boots much? Not a whole lot, no. Ruin Greatsword. Okay, I'll do Ruin Greatsword. We're abandoning the knight build. We are abandoning it. That means I need a weapon, though, in order to get the Ruin Greatsword, so... Like, I need a weapon to kill the boss with. Let me get some levels real quick, because I have a lot of those waiting. No abandon. Broadsword? What are my stats again? Basically nothing yet. I haven't leveled at all, so now I'm gonna do the leveling. We're gonna need strength and int, right? Those are the main. Yeah, strength and int. Counter knight build. don't know why I'm popping these all here. I don't have a grace nearby. But that's not very many. We'll go do, I'll go cheese cavalry and we'll kill, gray wool as well. Bastard sword's pretty cool. Way more strength scaling than Ent. Very good, very good. Here, we'll bleed. Bleedus, deletus. Bleedus, deletus. Forked, great sword. Forked. Bastard sword is at the merchant on Weeping Peninsula. Oh, really? Okay, I'm down. Let's do that. Fort Height West. I didn't finish my breakfast. I started talking and just did not stop. I'm going to order lunch. And then we'll get back to our stories, huh? Misery Cord, best crit dagger. I do like the Misery Cord. I use that a lot on rune level 1 as well. Now, where was I? We were talking about the dwarves. We went to bed. So day 4. Oh, I didn't order my food. That's right. Food. I actually had Jersey Mike's last night, so I'm not going to have Jersey Mike's. You know, I'm going to order pizza. Also, I think, so Bloody's actually getting her tattoo. She's continuing her big sleeve. She's got a big upper sleeve of Mass Effect. And she's got some stuff on her forearm, but she's getting a lot of it done today, so. She's actually going to be out really late, which means long stream. So, let's do it, shall we? I'm going to be with you guys till late tonight. Ringed finger is a neat weapon. Is it almost done yet? It'll probably be one more session after this, but we'll see. We'll see. I'm getting pizza. Also, with all the exercise we've been doing, well, first of all, I was very glad that we had been spending some months getting into shape, but also now, like, I want to do the LARPing like so much for fitness, because that's a holy shit. Walking uneven terrain, running on like sandy shit, rocks, attacking, dodging, it was great. Great workout. We're going to the merchant over here is what we're doing. Oh, there he is.
Dear customer, please buy something.
HYNAFOL fit is a real goal for you? Yeah. Hi, Jess. You really love workouts that feel functional in that way? Yes. Like Wii Fit. Or Beat Saber. Or LARP. Wait a minute. Where's the bastard sword? Is this not Weeping Peninsula?
How nice of you.
Is this Weeping? Is it this guy? Isolated merchant? You lost a whole belt loop. Whoa. Wendigo, we've been talking for almost 2 hours now on my experience of the LARP. This way, merchant. Is it this one? You know, I haven't used the Zweihander. So let's use this until we get the knight. I mean the big boy. The ruined greatsword, okay? We're gonna do it. Oh, flax. Can upgrade my flax. Level up some strength. Yes. Some dex. Good stats there. I have not Zwayed in this game yet. Zwayed. Fat roll. Yeah. Yes. Oh, no. You can't just R1 spam like Giant Dad. All right, that's fine, though. Let's slay a dragon, shall we? The merchant by the Black Knight on the way to the misbegotten boss. Got you. Very well. I will zwei, though. I will zwei. That's a terrible reference to me. So, I ordered my pizza. Day 4 of HYNAFOL. Also, by the way, I would love if we can make a command for HYNAFOL and link to it so that people can find it. If we don't already have it, but the link is hynafol.com, and this is the spelling. You can say HYNAFOL is the big LARP event that Lobos did, and then post the link. If you do a Wolfpack LARP, I'd totally be down. I mean, if people are genuinely serious about attending HYNAFOL, we mostly have a guild practically to ourselves, and we could make our own guild too and do it. But I will be, you know, forthcoming that, like, if you're gonna join, be serious about it. I mean, it's a lot of money too, so especially if you're from out of town. Not a lot of money. It's just it's worth it. It's just it is a lot of money to do, and then suddenly be like, I'm not here to LARP. I'm just here to talk about Dark Souls with Lobos. Wiggity one. I have considered that. But, and Soul Level 1 is always my second playthrough for learning purposes. But for first playthrough, nah, I don't like to spend a lot of downtime, you know, while I'm trying to figure stuff out. Or trying to figure out where to go, that sort of thing. You know, Bleed would be better for this shit. That's why I'm using Bleed. Subscriber voice. You only need 5 members to make your own guild, says Taylor Ann Tracy. You can also make religions, and every... Uh-oh. Oh, right. I don't even have a bleed weapon. Oh, boy. Let me go get the... Let me go get the Uchi, I guess. This is a problem. Whenever you're going to remember HYNAFOL, can we also have LARP for the same? Sure! We can have a LARP. We can have a LARP command and have it linked to the HYNAFOL in case people are like, what was that LARP thing? What kind of weapon can you bring to LARP? You have a blunted tourney longsword. There are, you know, rules for the weapons and what is acceptable. It just depends on the weapon. There are kind of, at least when I was going to buy, they were like, here are like 4 vendors, and if you get your weapon from these vendors, you are 99.9% good to go. And I was, so that was good. I think there was one from Epic Armory that they had there that wasn't. But yeah, if you decide to sign up for HYNAFOL, they'll have all sorts of information for you along those lines. And there's also there's a Discord and everything, and we've all been talking on the Discord for months and talking about things like that. Right, we're gonna go get the Uchi. Can you use a Moonlight Greatsword at the LARP? Yeah, I mean, if it was battle appropriate, yeah. You know, people had all sorts of fantasy weapons. But I don't know if there are restrictions on that, but you can always run it by the powers that be to determine whether that would be acceptable. It was a lot of fun. You mean to explain LARPing? No, I think to also have the link. So if somebody was like, what was that LARP that Lobos did? Then they could do ! LARP and find it that way. Rivers of Blood at LARP. Well, you're not going to have effects. You're not going to be like, I shoot my Moonlight Greatsword across. And of course, everybody, well, maybe not everybody, but if you haven't, there's a wonderful video from like 15 years ago. Early memes days of the dude with casting lightning bolt, and like just throwing him at this dude as he slowly dies. Lightning bolt. Yeah. There was no magic of that sense this year. In fact, magic, as part of the story, magic was long, it was really just a kind of a mythical idea. Magic did not exist. Magic there's definitely been signs of magic now, so it's clearly making its way back. But there are guilds whose goal is to bring magic back. And there are also guilds whose motivations is to prevent magic from ever returning because it leads to horrible things and this and that. There were a couple of, injury moments where, somebody took an arrow to the eye, not the knee, but like, just a quick like, shit. And in those cases, you very quickly call hold. Everybody stops fighting. Make sure everybody's okay. If they need to, they get whatever help they need or whatever. But I don't think there were any like serious injuries. Just momentary like, shit. Oops. And then you move on. Well, so the spears are not, they're not like, they're not sharp-tipped or anything. They're like foam flat-ended so that you don't get, anything really jabbed in there. But, you treat them like spears. The Uchi is right here, I think, right? Is that correct? Maybe it's further. It's been a while since I ran and grabbed this. Hello, we're Dick. Calamaxia indeed. Hello, Grim Wolf. Oops, I'm gonna have to catch up. I've been just, mouthing so much about our experience and not looking at chat. So if there are people who are from the LARP and interested in making comments or whatever, like, stick around. We'll chat. They wouldn't bring an Avalon. There was somebody with a crossbow. Like a little crossbow. It wasn't an Avalon, of course. It wasn't a multi-shot. But it was a crossbow. It was pretty cool. Ooh, somewhere. Heavy door is opened. Wait. Wait. Is the Uchi up top? Oh. Is it that? Excuse me. Pardon me. Any havels? Well, the thing is, the maximum benefit your armor can have is like two extra hits. So it's not like you can have a particularly high quality armor that just lets you walk through everything. But we'll talk about day 4. I had mentioned, there we go, how the Imperium was supposedly going to be summoning a monster to assist them in the next fight. And so we had gotten our asses handed to us day 2, or battle day 2. And so we kind of weren't looking forward to it, but a lot more people showed up. It was the final battle. It was to really kind of dictate who holds power and how much in decision making for HYNAFOL as a whole. And so a lot of people showed up and supported League to Freehold. People were, there were some people that were just mercenaries. So they would fight for whichever side would give them the most coin. Because there was currency, and there's multiple currencies that, the Fae would deal in teeth. So they had, like, it looked like just human teeth that they would use as a currency. Yes, it is, Lucifer. So a lot of people showed up. Day 2 we were missing several like commanders, and so there was a lot of it was lacking a lot of organization. But this day, I think we had everybody that was there on day 1, and very structured. Lots of shields. Ultimately, more numbers, but of course they did have a summon a monster, and that monster was death. Oh, I'm actually gifting a sub to Grimwolf. Enjoy that sub. Do you need to collect your runes after popping all the golden runes? Didn't spend them all, did you? You were distracted. You're absorbed in the LARP story. No, I spent them. I leveled with them. We're good. So, right, they had death. And Death was pretty similar to how we had encountered him in the in town, which was that Death was just slowly walking. And so they would put the shield wall in front of Death, and anything that he would touch would instantly die. However, through the power of observation, we learned that, like, he was kind of bound to one of their members. Like, one of the dudes, I think, was having to keep a hand on him at all times. I could be wrong. But was next to him for sure. And if we took out that guy, it would, like, stun Death. And we could kill Death. We also had the power of a runic weapon, which would deal double damage to Death. But he still was like, I don't know, he had like 100 health or something like that. And when he can just tap your shield and insta-kill you, or tap your spear and insta-kill you, it makes it a little rough. But overall, I think for that one, there were only, I want to say there were only 3 objectives. It shows how much I was paying attention. But my role as a skirmisher was just either stay on the sides and counter skirmish. So anybody that was trying to go wide around and then take us out from the back, we would defend against. So lots of running around, which was fun. Or do my own job of trying to get around and attack their back line. Day 2, I had a very successful kind of flank where I took out like half of a shield wall because they didn't know I was there, and I was just like, you're dead, you're dead, you're dead. That was probably my biggest hero moment. The rest of the time, it was mostly one-on-ones, and not too bad. Backstab fishing. Well, anyways, we wound up triumphing, even with their possession of Death. And also the second round, so it was 2 rounds of 15 minutes, and then we switched sides. The second round, the other team, the Imperium, forgot to hit their objective that was on their side, so they didn't take up any time on it, so they lost a lot from that. But we won anyway, so it happened. It was kind of a surprise to all of us. We were like, oh shit, that kind of sucks. But it happened. Oh. Foul foot! Gimme. Excellent. Are you dead? Oh, you're not dead yet. Oh. Oh. Oh, I thought he was dead. Well, he'll die now. Yeah, there were videographers and photographers of the whole thing. So, I mean, you know, they'll take time to edit and get that all out. But I'm super excited to see photos. So we leave. As victors, the Ligue de Freehold is allotted 6 out of the 10 chairs at the round table to make up the Council of HYNAFOL. And the Imperium gets 4. So at that point, we all go back, we shower, we eat, and the league holds a council of their own to determine who will take the seats. And this was a really cool thing because, you know, it was, I need to worry about my dex. My dex. I'm still going strength. Anyways, you know, representatives from all the guilds under the league, as well as, you know, neutral guilds such as the Fae, showed up to plead their case for a seat on the council. Nova Vitae is a smaller guild. I think we had a total of like 6 people. 7, but like one of them was also a photographer and also ended up being an NPC, which we'll talk about in a bit. And then we were friends with the Fulcrum Acolytes, who were all just non-combatant scholars. Oh, that's not true. They had one who was a combatant who was basically security, if you would say that. So we combined, and we were like, you know what? We'll say that originally Nova Vitae had chosen me to be a representative for council. But then we discussed with the Fulcrum Acolytes, and I was like, you know what? I bet a lot of the people that are going to be put on council are going to be like, you know, fighters and this and that. And I think it would be very useful to have a scholar on there. I'm going to try and go upgrade this weapon a little bit. So I was like, I will concede my claim to our good friend Magnus of the Fulcrum Acolytes. So that was what we discussed beforehand. Then we went into it, and there was a representative of the... well, there were, I think, there were 4 chosen, and it came down to the last ones. And we hadn't spoken up yet. I think one was given to... one of the March Wardens, ultimately, and then there was one slot, and the Fae wanted it, and we also made our case for the League. The Fae had been kind of shady, kind of switching sides all over the place, so there was a lot of hesitation on that. Oh, I need more money. More money. After a lot of discussing and several breaks, we all agreed that there was a Fae member of a smaller guild named the Voyage Maru who was kind of neutral, and they wanted Fae representation. Different guild, you know, it's not the Solus or the Noctum Caligo, which is the Fae guilds, and ultimately, they agreed, and we all agreed that a Fae of the Voyage Maru, who was kind of more neutral, would speak for the Fae, and then Nova Vitae and Fulcrum Acolytes we were very buddy-buddy with the March Wardens, so any issues that needed to come up, we could talk through that. So, no place on the council. That's okay, though. Not really a politician. And, Magnus can focus on his information gathering rather than, you know, little things here and there. So, with that, everybody was very excited to gather at the round table with the whole thing of Merlin, that Merlin's box had revealed. Meeting at the round table, seating 10 council members, leaving one open. The Lord's arrival, something like that. Fae are like fairy folk. F-A-E. Carnage, 7 months. Waffle Stomp, 12 months. Welcome back. Proxy Frog, Nutmeg Galkos. Good to see you all. So that was clued you into the event originally. Did you end up knowing anyone else who was already going? No? Nope. Nopers. I'm gonna go get more upgrade materials for this thing before we try and go do the... Before we try and go get our frickin' Ruined Greatsword. Well, happy to have you here as well, Waffle Stomp. I appreciate you. Crystalline Woods. Oh, I know where that is. But actually oh, no, where I do want to go northeastern over here. Okay, anyways. We had Din Din. We convened at the round table. At this point, it was dusk. It was getting dark. A lot of people were like, be on your guard. Oh, I forgot to mention, the night that there was a very heavy storm, there were rumors that something big was going to happen at the castle at 10 p.m. and bring weapons and all this, and we were like, oh my, okay. But the storm happened, and I think that kind of pushed things off, so that didn't actually end up happening. But there were rumors of this, like, with the meeting at the round table and everything, like, bring your weapons, like shit is going down. So I had my weapon, several of us were there with weapons, and just like kind of, it was tense. We weren't sure what was going to happen. With the 10 council members sat, discussion began, and at some point, one of the members of Nova Vitae, the one who I mentioned as a cameraman and also now an NPC, shows up, and he's basically like, hello, I am... Oh, wait, no, I forgot before that. two of these, I think they're dwarves who were speaking a language that nobody understood just yet, showed up. That's where I want to go. Jeez. And they were injured, so they got sent to the castle, and they were being healed over there. And then Mordred freaking shows up and is basically like, I have the right to rule HYNAFOL, blah, blah, blah. Go F yourselves. And we're like, what the fuck? And then he disappears off. And I was like, I thought he was the cameraman. No, and then he comes back and clarifies, like, by the way, if I have my, he calls it his third eye. If I have my third eye, his camera, then he's not Mordred. Otherwise, he is Mordred. So we were like, oh, damn. And then we were there for a while trying to figure out, oh, right. The clue from Merlin was like, the map will be filled if all 10 council are set correctly. And so it was a little bit of musical chairs, like, did we not pick correctly? Because the map's not filled, and should we sit over here and do this and that, and blah, blah, blah. And so they were pulling up all this information. And this is when I learned that people had fucking found dragon eggs. So, well, slightly before that, because the two dwarves that were injured and we couldn't understand had a red dragon egg, I believe. And they took it to the castle and this and that. I believe people of the lodge had a green one that they had secured, and there was also a gold one that was in safekeeping. There were also whispers of the idea of void steel being a thing, and that it alone could harm Arthur, as well as potentially some monsters. There was ham, but not related to the green eggs. And so all of this information is being brought up. Everybody's like, well, you know, the council members need to be decided by steel. So maybe instead of fighters, we need and instead of scholars, we need fighters. So people were making guesses left and right. Eventually, we hear bells from the castle, and so we set off to the castle. And upon arriving, it's very dark again. It was there's a big crowd there, and there's a lot going on. Shades and mimics just start pouring forth from the castle, and a big battle ensues. We were familiar with them and how to take care of them, but they started resurrecting after we killed them. Eventually, Death comes out, and Death is on stilts and with a huge-ass red scythe and swiping everybody to death. Well, to death. But we knew he wasn't invincible, so we kept fighting. A lot of people were dying. You know, healers were dragging people out so people can get healed up. I was away from most of it until the very end. Death kind of plows through everybody and makes it back to me, and I'm like, multi-tapping him on his back. And Death doesn't die, but it basically retreats to the castle and says some, villainous things like, I'll be back, blah, blah, blah. And so we triumph over Death in this case, and damn it. Whatever, just die. Oh, that's the boss, I forgot. And huzzah, we did it, and we saved everything, and we go back to the lodge and start drinking even more. And then the Lady of the Lake, Lady Nimue, is there, and me and Kendra and a few others she starts telling tales. She has like a list of stories to read, and we're like, oh shit, read this story about, the demon lover and this and that, and we're like, oh, cool. So we listened to stories for a while. There's songs. At some point, Mordred was just hanging on the outside of the window of the lodge, and I'm like, you're Mordred there? And he's like, and I was like, well, nobody seems to be doing anything. Whatever. I'll pretend like I didn't see him. And oh, I'm only here for the bell. That's what I'm here for. Oi, 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 oi. I could use these smithy stones though. Excuse me. And this was the last night. So what else? I remember going to the tavern, the Lionheart Tavern, and drinking. And this would be the last night of the event. In the morning, there's the final meeting in Decorum in Outfit, where one of the dwarves that was injured is healed up, and he reads to us. RPG is up. Yep, we managed to fix it for now. And can I wait? Oh yeah. The dwarf tells us about how the dwarves have been underground, and they fought against dragons. I think I was pretty groggy at this point, but and the powers of void steel and this and that, and that Excalibur was a sword that could be found to be used in a lot of setup for basically HYNAFOL 2.0 next year. And yeah, then we were just kind of, some final points were made and started packing up, went home. And I probably missed so much. It's very hard to remember all of the details because it was such a good experience. No phones, disconnected, interactions with so many people who, you know, you're in this game space where you're gonna see these people over and over. And some point I think Alamaxia gets backstabbed by a dude. Like there was a lot going on. Lots of fun. Very good. Highly recommend. This was a 5-day event, which, you know, I wouldn't say that all LARP events are like this. In fact, this may be one of a kind.
I expected as much.
Oi, 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 oi. Now, if you're in Canada, there's Bicoline that I have not been to, but it's a massive one, and they have huge battles. But I think this was a little more personal and more story focused, which was very cool. Oh gosh. And if she's still here in the chat, Taylor Ann Tracy was like the lore master, and Jordan, I actually don't know Jordan's last name. A guy named Jordan kind of did a lot of logistic stuff, and a lot of people helped out, and it was a blast. It was a lot of fun. And I know I am pretty dang committed to, you know, absolutely returning to the subsequent year annual events, as well as any smaller events they're putting on, especially since we live like 45 minutes away, so it's nice. You went to Bicoline and it was awesome. Yeah, I've watched some videos and it's like huge scale. Woof. So yeah, now all of my fitness ventures are for the LARP. So is there a certain Ash of War that's your favorite in Elden Ring? Buckler Parry, baby. No. You could Google the Bicoline and find out where it's at, but I don't think it moves. It's on. Oh my god. Oh my god. He rolled me. Oh wait, is my pizza here? No, not yet. Cool. Not yet. Cool. Okay, anyways, I spent the last 2.5 hours talking about this whole LARP thing, and people have joined and left since then. But if you have any questions, by all means, let me know and field them, and I'll do my best to answer. And also, if I missed anything cool or just fucking just ruined something here and there. How do you join LARP? I would just Google LARP near me, or look to any larger LARP events and make plans to visit them and participate. At the minimum, all you need is like some clothing that looks time appropriate. That's it. You don't need to battle. You know, you don't need all sorts of accessories. Just whatever. We have payment plans to help make it easier. Yeah, I am advertising because I loved it. All right. Normally, sponsors have to pay to be advertised on this stream. So enjoy the free coverage. What was my kill count? I have no idea. It's very fast paced. It's much chaos. There were a lot of battles. I wasn't counting. Just remember the tent's art soundproof. Yeah, I remember that. If most weapons were cushioned, how they allow your greatsword? I had a LARP greatsword. Like, I have many steel, you know, carbon steel greatswords and long swords. Whoop. But I specifically got a LARP greatsword for that. Ah! If you want to be effective, oh god. Overall, get you a tower shield and like it's kind of a hand and a half or one-handed sword. Hey! Oh shoot. Oh, there we go. That's what I need. The stun, the stagger. We appreciate it so much. There's only 2-person team. Majority and I put this on. We're glad. Yeah, we didn't really jump into all the planning and stuff until way later, but man, they had the Discord up and going, like, and Zoom calls starting like, I don't know, March? Something like that? March this year. And they did a lot of work to bring everybody's, you know, visions to life. So much kudos to all the organization and everything. There's some local LARP groups here, but nothing large scale. Nobody wants to come here because the altitude makes them pass out. Oh, that's a good place to train, though. You get used to that altitude, and you'll have an advantage, potentially. Sweet, pizza's almost here. We got this smithing bell bearing. I'm going to go get this other smithing bell bearing. We're going to upgrade this Vihanda, and then we're going to go get our Ruin Greatsword. Okay, did I miss some questions? Anybody else got questions? Also there, again, Taylor and Tracy in the chat is the lore master for the thing. Don't ask for spoilers, please, because I wouldn't want to be spoiled, but if there are any clarifications that can be made story-wise or whatever. Logic's Nick. Thanks for 10 months. Welcome back. General Ding Dongus as well. I have, Rai-chan. I think that was on the reruns, in fact, that I just played. Some people train while wearing a mask to mimic altitude training. Yeah, I mean, there's a fitness channel on the HYNAFOL Discord that, you know, as soon as we've all finished, we're all like, okay, so we need to step it up for next year. Everybody's talking about doing workouts in their armor and stuff. Would you change anything about the event if possible? Absolutely. Every event has something to change about. This was especially for a first-time event, you know. What I found is, especially because we were trying to be super decorum, like we didn't carry around our phones or anything, so making track of time is something that definitely, I mean, we could just buy timepieces and have little decorum stopwatches. I did put in feedback. That would be cool if there was some way. I don't have an answer for it, because having a large fucking digital clock or even maybe like a, I don't know, tower clock could be cool, but then you would need them all over the place and this and that, blah, 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 blah. But that's certainly something that, whoa, for me cause issue. Mostly more tent fuckers. Oh dear, oh dear. What the hell is this guy doing? Nick! What? Gifted 10 tier 2 subs. Tier 2s. Bell ringing guy. That could be useful if they had hourly bells or something like that. They did have, you know, the sounding of horns or bells for specific events, but I don't think there was something that was, you know, universally done. I could be wrong also, and I don't know what the plans are, but I would really enjoy Like, I'm kind of on the fence one way or the other, but having some way to, to like read up on what's happened. I'm sure that's planned, but like there were a lot of times where somebody mentioned that something happened or a piece of information came out and I wasn't there and I was like, did that actually happen? Like, is this rumor true? What are the main, you know, story points that we created outside of the... Stop this. Outside of the planned story points. Wait. That sort of thing. Just keeping on top of that sort of info. Whoop. Because we have some friends in Fulcrum Acolytes who apparently they're the ones that spend a lot of story effort and time to actually summon death. This is what I know. And they had a whole ritual, and then their ritual was like raided, and like all this stuff went on, and I'm like, man, I'm sure there was like video of certain events like that, but like how much other stuff happened that I wasn't aware of. But that's also a really cool thing to have to like only learn of through word of mouth. So that's why I'm like, I could see it happen both ways, you know. Oh! No, don't grab me! Ah. Is it not just time for a bunch of firekeepers to die o'clock? Bell towers you for telling time, not just firekeeper lore. The rumor system, yeah, like the way the rumors work. Because, yeah, there were a couple of times where I was just like, whispered a tidbit of info, and I'm like, ooh, okay. Information is power, but also I could keep this for myself, and also I could sell this information, so. I could see a more fleshed, I'm sure, and I don't want to, I'm not trying to say these in any sort of negative way, like, why didn't they do this? It's just like, I understand it's a first-time event. There's a lot to do, and there's a lot to be iterated upon. More things to do with the currency would be very cool. At one point, somebody... Oh, no, don't die. At one point, somebody stepped into the lodge, and they were a merchant. And they had a bunch of little, like, trinkets and stuff. And they, you know, I purchased a necklace with HYNAFOL currency. And that was cool. And I also made a sale with one of those... I sold one of those Langhall Sunbro favor tokens for some money as well. For my character in particular, I didn't really have a lot of use for money, but again, I'm sure that's something that can be fleshed out for the future. Would you ever contact someone for rewards via YouTube? What rewards? Oh, you mean just in general? Or do you mean me specifically? Oh, yeah. If you're saying a message that seems to be from me, it's not me. It's not me. I'm sorry. It's not me. Scam. Scam-arino. Possible ban evader. Wait a minute. Possible scam evader. What? No, no, no. Whew. That was a lot of talking. I think my pizza's here. Let me go over here, and I think this is a rune that I'll pick up, and then I'll bounce out of here. Oh, no, wait. Oh, the rune is down here, or a different drop? Oh, no, it's a different drop, I think. How's it feel to just play a strength build again? I mean... Oh, you mean like as opposed to doing like ridiculous challenge runs and other builds? I love me. Like, this is my default, man. This is what I love. Oh, right. I fell down and died. I forgot about that. Ghost song, question mark? One-eyed, one-horned? That was Ghost song. All moderator radars going off. I know, right? Yeah. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Let me see other questions. A specific LARP outfit you wore. I had, so we were like... So I had some stuff because I'd been to Ren fairs before. I had like 2 outfits, and we went on kind of like a pretty big purchasing spree over the course of 2 months. I wanted like a nice shirt, you know, a not nice shirt, chill shirt, and then some pants and stuff. And so I had a good selection. I wore all of them. In total, I had like, I also bought 1 new shirt there. But I had like 4 casual shirts, including like shitty undershirts that I would put underneath armor and stuff. Ooh. 8,700. I had 1 nice wool shirt. I had like 2 heavy wool tunics for going under armor, kind of Gambison style. And then I had like my armor outfit. Hello, Lilac. Well, you just joined us at the end of 2 hours and 45 minutes of me talking straight pretty much about the LARP. So if you're interested enough, by all means, rewind, and there's a lot to hear about. Ooh, brother. Hello. Hello. I'm gonna stamp upward cut this dick. Don't. Whoosha! You can scoop this, brother? Oh my gosh. All right, let's try it again. Push! Okay. Wow. All right. This guy's getting smashed. Wow. This is pretty brutal for him. Oh, ow. Hold on, hold on. No! Don't you dare. Don't do this. The reach. Uh-huh. Sir. Staggers? Any staggerers? There you go. There you go. Is it wrong to be strong? What a question. What about getting the friction on? Okay. This way. Yes? I'm disrespecting the Onyx Lord. Well. Sorry, duty. Sorry, duder. Hi, Leo. Did LARPing give you any greater opinion or thoughts about Henry and Kingdom Come? Greater opinion. I mean, I've always kind of loved that sort of stuff, so I wouldn't say a greater opinion. I thought about Henry a few times. I don't think I was trying to be like Henry at all, but yeah. Go for the eyes and the tourneys. No. With warhammers and shields. Yes, if you missed it, I got married to Bloody Faster. And then we immediately left for this LARP trip. So, speaking of LARP trip, or immediately leaving, let me go get my pizza. I'll be right back.